Well, the House was not in order this morning on Capitol Hill. Republicans begin a closed-door meeting last hour to figure out the next steps in their search for a leader. Congressman Paul Ryan being urged to put his name into consideration to be the next Speaker of the House. But as recently as about an hour ago, he told our Luke Russert that his decision not to run hasn't really changed. With me now from Capitol Hill, Wisconsin Republican Congressman Sean Duffy. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jose. Thanks for having me on.
So your kind of neighbor, Paul Ryan, is under a lot of pressure this morning. Is he the only Republican at this point who can unite this conference?
So with Kevin McCarthy stepping aside because he couldn't get 218 votes, I think that the natural next step would be to look to Paul Ryan. He's the guy that I think everyone could coalesce around. And so the pressure is coming on him, not just from members of Congress, but also from the outside. And I think it's right. Paul hasn't changed his mind. He doesn't want to be Speaker. He wants to write tax code.
Why is it? What's the issue?
He never wanted to be Speaker. He wants to fix America's tax code, make us more competitive. He's worked on that for 17 years, and he feels like it's hard to do that from the Speaker's position. Which is, again, it's amazing that you have a guy who doesn't want more power. He's happy with where he's at. But I think what's going to happen to Paul is, if you know him, he's kind of a Boy Scout. He wants to do what's right for the country. And if he feels that no one else can take the position and he's the only guy left, which I think he prays that's not the case, I do think he'll make a decision that's not just right for his family, his little kids, but also what's right for the country. And my hope is he will reconsider and take the spot.
One GOP aide described the whole situation as a mess. How would you describe it?
Listen, this isn't a mess. So John Boehner steps down, and as we go through the process, Kevin McCarthy couldn't get 218 votes. And so if he can't secure the votes on the floor, it's appropriate that he step aside now and not on the floor.
Yeah, but
and
let me ask you,
to the next guy.
Like whipped? I mean, doesn't the party like whip things? I mean, don't they check and see? Because, you know, 9 a.m. he was like, I'm all in, and then noon, just kidding.
Well, right. So what happens is the candidates whip members themselves, and so I think at the very end, Kevin McCarthy realized I don't have 218, and if I go forward with this vote in our Republican conference, I just need a majority. I'll win, but I won't be able to win on the floor and become Speaker. So instead of starting this process at the last minute, I'll call off the conference, not win because I won't make Speaker. And allow another member to rise up. So I think he played it out as far as he could, and then cut it off and said, well, someone else can play. But I think if you look at our conference, I mean, there is a real concern. Who leads the institution? And I mean, Kevin McCarthy made an interesting point today. He's like, you know, in 2007, we had lost the majority. Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker. It was an incredibly low point for Republicans in the House of Representatives. But it was from that low point that they coalesced around a set of ideas that brought them back into the majority. And this morning, Kevin said, listen, I know some people feel like this is a low point or there's a little bit of disarray, but it's from this low point that we're going to come back stronger and more unified with a better message that can help not just lead the country, but help save the country from some of these disastrous policies that have come from the administration.
So it's either the half full or half empty glass, depends on how you look at it. But right now, that glass does not have a lot of water in it. But Congressman Sean Duffy, thanks for being with me. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Hey, thank you.